there. You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of the movie Immaculate, which is a rather culturally important film given that it is the first starring vehicle for Sydney Sweeney since the entire universe started talking about her, and as a lead actress as well. Most known for the TV series Euphoria as a supporting character, I guess, to Zendaya's lead character to a degree, and then as part of the Madam Web debacle, which I gave a 0 out of 10 to this year. She was part of that process and seemed to be the only one involved whose profile and appreciation grew massively with that abysmal film. And the whole world became fixated on her to the extent she became a cultural icon in the battle against woke because of her breasts. I don't know who her agent is, but if it's either her doing this or that she's got a brilliant agent or she's got a great deal of luck or she's just choosing brilliantly, because she could not have done a better film for her career at this point than Immaculate, which is a gothic horror film. Broadly, you've seen everything here before. So she stars, and it fits in a little bit with the film Suspiria, which I really liked. The remake of Suspiria, which had, is it Dakota Fanning? Or Dakota Johnson. I've lost track of her name. But her lead co-star from Madam Web, I think, was the lead actor in Suspiria, and this is probably closer to Suspiria than anything that's been released since. So she stars as a very devout nun who leaves America to go and work in a convent in Italy, in this beautiful, misty convent in Italy, where nuns are put to death. Not put to death. It's their final resting place. So when they've only got a short period of life left, they go there and the nuns look after them. But as we see at the start, there's grimness afoot in this gothic environment. Now, I'm somebody that actually watched Killer Nun back in the day, which was like from the whole Gallo, which is the Italian bloody horror series of films that came out mainly in the 1970s, mainly by people like Dario Argento, who made the original Suspiria. Very graphic and bloody, and often with incredible colour schemes, and a very sort of a very aped style of horror, a very esteemed genre of horror to this day. And many of those films which got trashed critically when they came out are now cult classic films. And I saw one of them called Killer Nun, which is both a Gallo film, and it was a banned film, I believe, at the time, Video Nasty. Well, they push buttons on religion and sex and violence in these films quite, like they're mashing them as hard as they can do. I think it was a Video Nasty when it came out. But anyway, or when it came out on video. But also the genre of Nunsploitation films. And I am an appreciator of the immortal film Nude Nuns with Big Guns, which came out about 7 or 8 years ago, which deserved a lot more attention. It was actually, the title was the dumbest thing about it. It was actually a pretty cool film. So she stars in Immaculate, directed by Michael Mohan, who I don't really know much about, as this devout nun that goes to live in a scary convent in Italy, a beautiful building as well. And the cast are mainly Italian or Spanish actors that like, I think Alvaro Morte, who plays one of the head priests, will be very recognisable to Western audiences. And Simona Tabasco was Emmy nominated for the TV series White Lotus, but most of them are probably not that well known. But they've done really well with the budget here, and they've made a fair bit of money at the box office. Even though it hasn't sort of become an it horror film like, say, Smile did, where they make, 100, 200 million off of a $5 million budget or whatever that cost. They did okay. So she joins as the new nun, the Western nun that can't speak much Italian. She's taken under the wing of one of the other nuns, and she's shown one of the nails that was used to impale Christ on the cross, at which point she passes out. And stranger and stranger things start happening in her head. Standard fare for this kind of film, and dreams. People acting bizarrely towards her. And pretty early on, it comes out that she's pregnant. So I will leave the rest of the movie. I'm not going to, because I can't resist the spoiler at the end. But the whole thing is thickly atmospheric. It's worth hanging around for the paltry 90 minutes, because the last half an hour is pure Gallo. It's absolute chaos, violence, button pushing morality, just horrific stuff going on, high octane, all the opposite of the first hour of the film, which is a very sort of very methodically built up scary film that then descends into I love films that descend into apocalyptic chaos, and this certainly does over its final third, including some extremely aggressively button-pushing elements of the story at the end. And I think it is, and this is a spoiler alert to a degree, but I think it's come to something that the right wing in America, who have decided that Sydney Sweeney is their woman to destroy wokeness, have come out massively attacking this film for what happens at the end. I guess anti-abortionists are even anti-abortion in cases of Satan, and that is really saying something. But the stuff that happens at the end is really bad. And I appreciate the film for that. Sydney Sweeney is fantastic. She has got a weirdness about her look on her face, her delivery, which is fairly unique. And I think that she has, at exactly the right moment when everyone's talking about her, positioned herself alongside probably what I would call the two hottest actresses out there at the moment, Goth and Anya Taylor-Joy, both of whom have made most of their careers in horror. I'm waiting very patiently for the new movie Maxine with Mia Goth in, and I've raved about her continually, and Anya Taylor-Joy as well. They've all appeared in a number of horror or horror-adjacent films in the last sort of 3 or 4 years that have really cemented them as these it actresses. And Sydney Sweeney has done exactly that, which is, either very fortuitous, but she's great here, and particularly the fact that she goes completely ballistic in the last half hour of this film, which is extremely, it's bad. It's bad stuff, which is what you want when you walk into a film like this. So I'm going to give Immaculate, even though it is, if you've seen one of these films, it's not particularly original, and how rewatchable it is, I'm not 100% sure, but it's fine. It's good, and it's well worth watching for the last half hour. So I'm going to give it Immaculate 7.5 out of 10.